So onboarding and onboarding your customers in the right way. I've made some notes. If you see me looking down, that is what I'm doing. Um, this is something that I think some people do better than others. It's something that I think I could do a little bit better. So when I was preparing this, it did give me some food for thought for my own business. So maybe this session's really about sort of thinking and reflecting as to how you engage and onboard your own clients and see what you can do to make some improvements to that. So I think what's really important, as the phrase goes, is that first impressions count and first impressions last. And if you can have a really good positive first experience with your company, then I feel that you are starting on the right foot. So I think one of the best things you can do is try and lay out a really clear roadmap as to how you go about engaging with your customers typically. Yeah. So from the very first off, and let me just explain to you a little bit about like how I engage with my customers and how things work out, sometimes good and sometimes bad. So when I do speak to my customers, and certainly when I'm talking about my bite-sized product, once we've had a conversation about what product is right for them, I say to them, and I say this to them either on the phone or in an email, that the way in which I work is that I ask you to pay in advance. This means that you're more likely to turn up to your session, especially if it's online. And also, let's not forget that I'm giving tips and advice, right? So who's to say that when I have shared my knowledge with you on the subject that you want, that you sort of think, right, I've got what I need and I'm off now, right? So I say once I've sent you the invoice and the invoice is paid, then you get access to my calendar, so you can book in the sessions that fit around your own schedule. And what I find this does is it gives very clear instruction to people as to what happens. It allows me to then talk to them about my 100% money back guarantee, which is there to give peace of mind. So if someone hasn't dealt with me before and is thinking, this guy's going to take my money and then not deliver, I offer 100% money back guarantee. So if you aren't happy in the slightest, it doesn't matter why you are not happy. If you're not happy, I will refund 100% of your money for you. Yeah, that's just how it is. At the end of the day, that is what I offer all of my customers. Nobody's taken me up on that offer quite yet. But what I can tell you is that I have had a number of people that have stopped right at that point. I've sent them the invoice and then nothing. Ghosted. No contact. And maybe they're watching this now. Maybe I'm talking about you. But let me tell you, you're not on your own. And I don't know why they don't continue after that process. But, it's a process none the same. And maybe it's a good thing that they haven't continued down that line. Maybe we weren't right for each other, right? Who knows? But having a clear roadmap and explaining to your potential clients what is going to happen is really important, because the way I like to look at it is that those customers who haven't taken things forward, maybe they were going to waste my time further on down the line. Maybe they were going to be bad payers, right? Who knows? Maybe they just weren't right. Maybe they had something else going on in their life. Maybe someone better came along, right? Who knows? That's not my job to second guess them. But if you lay out a nice clear roadmap, then you and your potential customers know exactly what to expect. Try and keep your sign up process nice and short and sweet. Maybe my sign up process is too long, right? Especially if you're interacting with people through a web portal. Try and make the numbers of steps people have to go through, or the hoops they have to jump through. Try and make them nice and short and sweet so that you get them to engage with you with as fewer hurdles as possible. Spend time at the start making sure that you set out really clear objectives with them. So, whatever the product or service, I mean, this is generally advice for service based businesses, but what do they want to achieve? Make sure that you make note of what they want to achieve so that you can revert back to that. At the end of the day, you know, you don't want to be in on two different planes when it comes to what you're trying to achieve around the session or service that you're offering. And really, what I'm talking about there is not a particular product that you're selling, because it's quite straightforward, right? But certainly in a service based business, be very clear on what the objectives are. So making a plan. I'm a big advocate in, something that's sort of AOD. Make sure there's like an action on a person, and assign it a deadline, right? Giving very clear objectives and assigning them to who's responsible and giving them a deadline shows everybody concerned what needs to happen and when. Set milestones, especially when it comes around payment terms. So if you have a large project, make sure that you dovetail key payment milestones with major deliverable milestones. That's always important. Some other sort of top tips, I guess, are to standardize things. Try and get as much automation going as you possibly can. Because guess what? Believe it or not, people don't really want to interact with other people these days. So if you have a business that is able to be automated online, then I would suggest that you do it. And even if you are a service-based industry, I still would stress, if you wanted to, try and automate it through your website. It's something that I would do, but I don't have enough sort of volume really to sort of justify an online portal through my website. But I do know that people don't enjoy, don't want to actually interact. As long as there's enough information there on your web page, or enough information out there for people to make a decision, allowing them to go through that process on your website and actually buy the product or service without actually speaking to anyone is the way people like to do things these days. In terms of standardizing and automating, think about email templates so that when someone signs up with you, again, there's a difference between like having a product or having a service, but maybe you're firing off automated emails. So maybe think about some integration into your CRM system, by where once you've onboarded someone, there's an automatic email that goes out explaining a little bit more, maybe about the next step or what's coming up next. Think about being a little bit old-fashioned and maybe having a letter. Can you believe it? You might even send a letter in the post. People like to sort of feel something. Maybe you've got a brochure. Maybe you've got more than one set of services. It's really important that your customers understand your business as a whole, because who knows who they know. And especially at that early stage, because if they're impressed with you and your onboarding, then they're much more likely to tell their friends and family about you and be raving about you. So give them the information to be trumpet blowers for you, as it were, or as I like to refer to them, marketing megaphones. So think about a welcome pack, some kind of onboarding pack. I've got a very simple onboarding pack. It's a promotional mug, and you get to play the game of chocolate biscuit roulette. I know what you're thinking. What is chocolate biscuit roulette, Miles? Well, when I send out my Pioneers mug to my new customers, I pop a little biscuit in there from my childhood. So you're either going to get a penguin, a club, mint club, or an orange club, or a trio. Now the trios, they're a rare chocolate biscuit, but very desirable. So, and especially in the engineering and construction world that I deal in, turning up on site with half a dozen mugs with chocolate biscuits in goes down very well. And also those mugs hang around for a long time, let me tell you, right? So think about a little onboarding pack. Maybe think about a welcome video. All right, maybe think about recording a video. You only need to record it once, or think about recording a personal one, right? How nice would that be to get a personalized video about the products and services that you're about to embark on? Yeah, so consider an onboarding pack that physically gets sent out in the post. The next thing I'd say is regularly, hard for me to say, right? Easy for you to say, regularly check in with your clients and follow up. Make sure that they understand the process and what is required of them. Also, I'm going to say to you, after you've engaged with them for a little while, ask them how things are going. Do they have any feedback? So think about regular check-ins, especially if you've been working with a customer for a number of weeks or months. It's really important just to sort of ask that honest question, how are we doing? What do you think about our products and services? And I say this for two reasons. Firstly, good opportunity to ask them for a testimonial that you can add to your socials and your website, but also to get some real feedback, because you want to retain your customers. You want to keep your customers happy, right? So checking in with them and asking them, because they won't tell you. Well, some of them may tell you, but the majority of them won't tell you unless you actually ask for the feedback. Gathering data, right? Part of the onboarding process, and this is one that I don't think's practiced well enough, and it comes from my sort of old sales days where we used to have a customer card, right? Before computers, we used to have an account card for each customer, and we'd write down, who the manager's name was, what their contact numbers, the address, when you visited, what happened, etc., etc. But there was always a box for notes, and some of the best salespeople that I've ever met are really good at this, and it's making the notes about the clients and the extended sort of staff and friends and family of the clients. And it's around their sort of hobbies and interests and the other things that they like to do outside of work. Because this has really, it has good, what's the word? It has a good use for after the onboarding process, right? So I would say gather as much data as you can about the company, the people that work in the company, and anything you find out, like the guy might play golf, or the lady may enjoy golf, or have a favorite football club, or be into rugby, or be a triathlete, or enjoy playing the clarinet, or be a good artist, or one of my clients I found out recently, their daughter is a very, very talented artist and is studying fine art in university now, right? So making a note of these things, they're not always going to be useful, but when it comes to things like Christmas, right? Or you think you'd like to give a small little gift, if you like, just say thank you for their custom, maybe buying the golfer a little sleeve of golf balls, or as I did for one of my customers, they're into their bike riding. So I bought a little pack of washing bits and bobs for their bike. So just thinking about keeping a note of what their interests are, their hobbies and interests, and the different people within the company will come in handy at some stage, and get it into your CRM system. We're getting to the end now. So this is really important. And I've spoken to a number of my customers about this. And in my opinion, we don't do it enough. We spend a lot, and that's the role we, right? We spend a lot of time trying to find new customers when actually we're not either looking after or getting the most out of the current customers that we have. So think about revisiting your current customer base. Make sure that you keep in touch with them often, but think about upgrades of products and services that you could offer them. I'm telling you, it's the easy wins to be able to upsell or upgrade your current customers for new products and services. Yeah, they're already a fan of yours, right? You haven't got to convince them or onboard. So think about utilizing your current database for upgrades in products and services. Okay, we've got to the end. It was a nice sort of brisk one today. It's a really interesting subject, onboarding your customers in the right way. And I can't stress enough how much more you will get out of your customers if you give them a really nice, clear, smooth, professional onboarding process, right? Look at it, analyze it. If you don't do any onboarding at the moment, start at least by getting a standardized email that you send people when they sign up with you. All right. Think about some collateral, think about some promotional items maybe. So I'm going to give you a little summary. You've got your pens and papers handy. First thing I'd say is set a clear pathway. Set out what the next steps are in terms of the first engagements with you. Send something as a welcome pack and outline the products and services that you offer and make it, again, very clear as to what the next steps are going to be in the process. Ask them for feedback, okay? Ask them to be honest with you and take it on board. Don't just ask people for feedback and then just think, oh, bugger them. I don't care what they say. You know, if they're going to take the time to feedback, then really take it on board and try and implement some change if at all possible. Automate as many of the processes as you can, have them, keep them on file, and then just change the name to personalize them. And don't forget to keep in touch. Once you've got your customers, keep regular contact with them so that they remain customers for the full length of the life cycle. So there we go. So Philip says he can see us and watch us no problem. So I'm hoping that everybody else has. I didn't manage to sort of see it on my device for whatever reason. The gremlins as usual. But if you've liked what you've heard today, then please get in touch. Let us know your thoughts. I will be announcing what's coming up in November. We've got a great special guest. A very special guest, Satna's coming up in November, and we've got some great topics to talk about as well. I've been putting together the list for December as well, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the run up now to the end of the year. As usual, if you want to get in touch, please do. You can WhatsApp me an inappropriate GIF, maybe. Go on, I dare you. So with no further ado, I'd like to thank you all for listening or watching on catch up. And until next time, ta-ta.